the 2018 Toyota AFL Premiership season. Thanks to Yes Loans. They say yes more often. And Metal West Recycling, the scrap metal specialists. 6PR is football.
The skip has a floater. Didn't come off the boot well, but it's been marked right on the goal line. So Brown's taken the mark. He's in the pocket, tucked up right near the boundary. The banana, and he sent it home, I reckon.
Merritt just wanted it a little bit more. He's got it left half forward. Good vision back to the top of the 50. And Bill Chambers, lovely looking kick. Goal umpire didn't move a muscle. A hot first quarter from the visiting team. Stringer directly in front, virtually point blank range. No problem with that. The Bombers have got the first 4 of the match. Well, not just the first 4, the first 6 of the match for Essendon. A goal to Devon Smith with just 3 seconds remaining in that term has really shell-shocked the West Coast Eagles and their fans at Optus Stadium on a Thursday night. 6PR, 3AW football for Metal West Recycling and Yes Loans this season. 3 goals to Jake Stringer in the first quarter, 1 to Bell Chambers, Devon Smith and Mitch Brown. No goals to the West Coast Eagles. Glenn Jakovich, you predicted this.
Yeah, well, I said at the start, I guess off a 6-day break, they look sore. They look to me they're playing bruise-free footy, no real intent, no intensity. Essendon off a nice break. They are just dictating West Coast to the ball. A stagnant forward line. West Coast got absolutely no efficiency in their forward line, and 0-1 to 6-2. Essendon are all over them. They run off the half back line. Their pace is troubling West Coast at the minute.
Stats for home start. They are the first home buy specialist. Steve Allen.
When goalless in the first quarter, it's not a good record for West Coast. They've won 6 wins and had 23 losses throughout their history. Essendon, that was their highest scoring quarter for the season, the first quarter for the season. Our major ball winners, Heppel with 9, Sard with 8 and 227 metres gained. Redden leads West Coast with 8, while Cole hasn't touched the footy.
Luke McFarlane.
Well, we'll see what West Coast are made of. They're usually a good starting side, but they are really under the pump, 6 goals down. So we'll see what they are made of coming out at the start of this second quarter.
Second quarter underway. The Eagles and Essendon from Optus Stadium. 6PR, 3AW football. That's the Bombers out of the middle. Merritt got it to McKenna, who kicks out towards Fantasia. Left half forward. Able to trap it down low. Hearn trying to corral him. He slips the tackle and sends it inside 50. Brown on the lead. Couldn't mark. Almost had the arms chopped. Tippenwoody, great pickup. Fed it back to Langford. Lowered the eyes. Goes wide. And Heppel, no, can't take the mark. He had it 3 times in his hands, but dropped it in the end, and McGovern able to mop it up. He goes short to Lacroix. The handball sold him into trouble. Back to McGovern. Through the middle. Better build up this time at Lycett. Dropping the mark, then giving away a free kick for over the shoulder opposed to Merritt.
Gee, it really hurts him. McGovern trying to do what Sard did off the half-back line, breaking lines.
West Coast looked like they were bursting forward. Now it's Essendon through Heppel. Back inside 50. Hearn with the spoil. Knocked it down. Schofield after it. Bagley got there first. He's tackled, wrapped up, and we'll get a ball up inside 50 for the Bombers. They're 6-2-38. West Coast 1 behind. Second quarter for AGL Gas. It's gas plus a whole lot more.
Yeah, they're telling me when I was going down there that I should maybe get out there and put my jumper on. I'm going, gee, have you seen me run? Can't even walk. Anyway, Nat Nui in the back pocket. They're not happy, the Eagles fans, I can tell you that. They wanted to pick up their intensity. They reckon they're not committed hard enough. So Hutchings, Gaff, giving them a spray they were too, boys. As Yo fumbles it. Look at this, turnover footy. Now it is doing a little pirouette. Fantasia. Oh, nice threaded pass too. Magnificent stuff. He finds Devon Smith and he'll have a shot from 40 on a 45-degree angle.
They are off, Luke. They're trying to create something here that wasn't there. They're trying to take the game on. They're fumbling the ball, and turnover city is West Coast all over here, and started with Lycett when they had a penetration off their half-back line. And here's another re-entry, and Devon Smith. Zach Merritt is the one that they've got to control of. He's the +1 down back. He's just running in and collecting free footy off the half-back line.
So here he is, Devon Smith. A beautiful strike. Magnificent. Look at that. Sailed straight over the goal umpire. Did not move. And that is now the second goal to Devon Smith, the 7th goal to the Bombers. 7-2-44 to 1 miserable point at the moment. And our scoreboard here on 6PR Footy tonight is for AGL Gas. Their gas plus a whole lot more.
Well, West Coast a couple of times just trying to build off their half-back line, as Jacko mentioned. Scotty Lycett drops that sitter of a mark. And the other one, when it got into the hands of Elliot Yeo, he was running, he ran backwards. He didn't sort of attack the game and go forwards, and it just put them under pressure again. Essendon able to get a re-entry through Fantasia, but they are looking so fast. Adam Simpson now down on the boundary line, just trying to get his team up.
That he certainly is. We'll get down to Frizz Ferguson in just a moment. Adam Simpson trying to change something up by coaching from down on the sidelines. Ball bounce back in the middle. Natanui with a hit out. Stringer up in the middle of the ground. Langford able to get it forward for Essendon. Bouncing ball half forward. Shepherd retrieves it first in front of Bagley. Long handball up the wing. Cripps back to Hutchings. Now to Gaff. Half back. Short ball marked by Duggan. West Coast just trying to get their hands on it at the moment. 7 unanswered goals Essendon's way as Duggan sends a ball wide to half forward. Lycett in the pack, couldn't mark it. Ryan toe poked it away. It was kicking in danger, but it was against his own teammate in Elliot Yeo. Essendon come up with it. Kick up towards Smith. Great trap on the bounce. And he wheels around, kicks it up the wing. Schofield sees it over the line, and it is out of play. Frizz Ferguson for Coates Hire down there on the boundary, keeping an eye on things.
Yeah, Adam Simpson is coaching from the bench, as you mentioned before, and Essendon's Josh Green has gone down into the room, so I'll bring you more when I have it.
He might be in some injury trouble for SKG Radiology. We'll keep an eye on that as Essendon win it away from halfback. Merritt copped a big bump from Ryan.
Went back to the defensive 50 to D, though. He's got plenty of backup down there. Hooker under pressure from Ryan, and he knocked the ball free, and it has gone out of bounds. It's inside 50 for the Eagles. They need a goal.
Well, great pressure there from Luke Ryan. He's in the side to do that, and it's going to take a lot of efforts like that to get West Coast back in this game, because Essendon are doing as they please.
Their worst quarter for the year, the West Coast Eagles, kicking only 1 point. That's still their score. If you've just joined us here on 6PR Footy for Meadow West Recycling and Yes Loans, hand pass comes out for Marston. He's under the pump. Oh, gee, Redden run down by Devon Smith. Free kick, jarring the ball free. And the Bombers just been too efficient everywhere.
Oh, work rate, Carl. Too slow there, Jack Redden. No awareness laterally what was coming. He should have known there's Essendon players at the back of the contest, and he just got eaten up.
Some of those stats for home start, the ones that are damning: 8 marks to none inside 50, 18 to 7 inside 50 overall, and 7 goals to nothing. Gives you a bit of the story of the night so far for a large contingent of Eagles fans who have struggled through traffic and a hard day's work here on a Thursday, come along to this magnificent ground, and their team hasn't rocked up. And the ball gets knocked away. I mean, the Eagles' performances here, from what they had come to expect and gotten used to, this is one out of the box.
Well, they average over 100 points here at Optus Stadium. They've got 1 point, and we're 5 minutes into the second quarter.
AGL Gas scoreboard was what Luke's referring to. 44 points to the Bombers. 43-point lead. Here they go again across half-back. Connor McKenna, I think it was, getting a hand pass. In fact, it was Fantasia. Langford now Goddard with a kick towards half-forward, and the mark is taken by Bagley. He's been a switch from defence to attack, which has worked. Goes to Brown, and McGovern got shunted out of the road, and he's going to get a free kick for a push.
Yeah, just a bit aggressive, trying to get McGovern under the ball on that occasion. So, yeah, free kick certainly there.
Just technique, Luke. I don't know where he's been taught his technique there. All he had to do is just be like a lamppost, hold his ground, and McGovern would have just bumped into him. But he initiated the contest. That's just a technical thing that you do at training all the time. You know the umpire's going to pay that. But protect the line of the ball and keep the ball dangerous in your forward line. It was a missed opportunity for him.
43-point lead in favour of the Bombers. Early stages, second quarter for AGL Gas. Ball knocked down to the front of the pack.
Adam,
after it was Guelphy.
Adam, is there anyone at the stadium?
You can't really hear them, can you? Until there's a contentious decision. That one was just over the line. And we're going to get a boundary throw in, left half forward. Very, very quiet. $1.6 billion stadium. Extra 20,000 people able to come to the footy. It sounds like there's nobody here just at the moment because Essendon are playing so well. McDonald tipped the footy, tackled high by Hutchings, and he'll get the free kick left half forward for Essendon. He looks up inside 50, and he goes long, tailor-made for McGovern, off hands, and Yeo trying to get out of there. His kick didn't go far enough. Stringer, he was bumped off it. McGovern, quick handball, got it to Gaff, back pocket, West Coast, Hearn, now to Shepherd. And he clears it away. Everything under pressure at the moment. Liam Ryan with the big fly. Didn't get anywhere near it. Probably could have been a free kick against him because he didn't touch it. Now West Coast with some tackling pressure. Goddard just able to get the arms clear. Picked up by McGrath. Feeds it back to D. And then short and wide to Heppel, who's got it on the wing. And again, every opportunity, they just want to move it quickly. He spears it in short to McGrath. A retreat back to D inside the centre square, Essendon. They lead it by 43 points, the Bombers. Ball long. And Brown over the back. Was able to find some space and take the mark. Got it to Langford. Ugly looking kick up to the 50. West Coast have some numbers at the full, and Yo's got it now.
So McGovern, Yo, and he combines then with his teammate Duggan, who turns it straight over. So it's coming back. Guelphy with a kick. Into the pocket he went. Knocked away from Stringer, who kicked, what, he ended up with 3? Who kicked the late goal in the quarter, boys?
Devon Smith.
Devon Smith, thank you.
Liam Duggan at half time, he wanted to have some kicking practice. He'd stay out in the ground because he's turned the ball over horrendously tonight.
So Stringer with 3, Devon Smith with 2 so far in this game, as in comes Tipper. That's a great effort. Ho! There's your goal of the day, gents. Toyota Material Handling, reliability, forklifts you can trust. Where you can trust Tipper.
Well, he typifies the effort that Essendon have brought tonight. He just wanted that footy. He got the ground ball, gathered it, busted through a couple of West Coast players, and what a superb finish, snapping it from the boundary.
Broken tackles again. West Coast just, very reactive, no work rate. And earlier on the other side, a couple of minutes ago, won himself a free kick because he burrowed into the contest. Technique was right, but he was first to the contest and draw the free kick. On that occasion, he's kicked himself a goal. So a very dangerous player, as we see on the camera electronic replay. He just walked through 3 West Coast players.
Right boot, right forward pocket. Amazing how he got the ball to shape through the goals.
How good it look on the camera electronic replay. Sterling and Murray Streets. Get in there and get a shot of that one.
Ball back in the middle, knocked down. After it, here's Rioli, who's up into the middle. Red and missed with a hack out of the air. Goddard came crashing in. And they all scrap after it. Rioli knocked it on, only as far as Redmond. Marston lays the tackle. Rioli went the bump. Standing tackle. Ball up quickly for his Ferguson for Coates Hire.
Simo is absolutely losing it at his team at the moment. Every time somebody's coming off the ground, he's really having quite a tense chat with them.
Ball on the 50. Knocked down. Attacking 50 for West Coast. They pile in on top. And we'll get a ball up.
The worst part is when they go down there, they don't look like scoring. Do they?
Exactly.
They do not look like
stagnant forward line, Carl.
Well, they've had 2 shots for 8 entries.
49-point lead it is to the Bombers as Natanui generates a high ball. He almost marked his own footy. He knocked it down on as far as Hurley. He goes straight to the boundary line. That will be intentional, will it? Yes. Free kick West Coast, left half forward.
How is that intentional? You're allowed to clear the defensive zone, aren't you? There was players there. It was just the poor kick.
He was unlucky that it went straight to the line. Hurley, as Duggan sends it very wide into the pocket, looking for Lacroix, who couldn't take the mark. And it's over the line. Boundary throw in left forward pocket for the Eagles. With 13 minutes to go in this second quarter on the Tyre Power clock. 8-2-50 Essendon. They've notched the half century. West Coast just one behind. An unbelievable scoreline. Natanui took it in the middle and he was taken high, was he? He's going to get a free kick.
David Myers again gives away free kicks.
Well, it was a bit unlucky because Natanui took it out of the ruck, so if he'd been tackled legally he would have been
through the head. He milked it a bit.
Yeah, the free kick was certainly there, but he did throw the head back. But he needs to go back and slot this. He's a senior player. I do reckon, Jacko, he's a senior player. He needs to kick truly.
So Nick Natanui, left forward pocket, 45-degree angle. He has kicked a goal. And finally, the West Coast fans can find some voice.
Wow, there.
11 and a half minutes into the second quarter is how long it took for the Eagles to find their first goal in this second term for AGL Gas. It's Gas plus a whole lot more, but an unbelievable scoreline. 8-2-50 Essendon, 1-1-7 West Coast.
Much needed goal, but who kicked it there? Ruckman, and it was repeat efforts. He followed up his own first kick. He's tapped, he worked at his own free kick. It's the first bit of energy I've seen from a player. It's come from Nick Natanui. So it's a makeshift forward line. There's no real energy movement in the forward line. I'd like to see back-to-back goals and, Fraser McGuinness throw himself, young Waterman as well. But they've got plenty of work ahead of them here, the Eagles.
Back in the middle. They just need another 8 of those. Then they'll be in front. As the ball is back in the middle, it's 8-1 on the AGL Gas scoreboard here on 6PR footy from Edda West Recycling, and Yes Loans is coming out of the middle of the ground, goes heavily, goes to Sard, who got a hand pass away to Myers, who gave away the last goal. He feeds one back to the half-back line and Hooker then pumps one down the spine. Big mark, big Corky right in the posterior for Marston. Marston still picking himself up behind play. Meanwhile, the Bombers, Green's back out there. He slipped and got caught in the head, and it was his own fault. And then umpire Williamson says, no, it's your own fault, mate. You fell over. And he gives away a free kick for being tackled to Gaff. Now, Gaff's got going. He's up to possession number 12, can you believe it, after that slow start. Onto the slipper he goes. 12 for Heppel, 12 for Langford. All of a sudden, he's up there with the top few as a mark is taken by McInnes on the wing for the Eagles.
McInnes, and it's 50. Yep, Carl Hooker running straight through the mark. You don't see that very often.
That is absolutely dumb. Essendon have done a lot of things right, but Carl Hooker, he's actually run through, it's for our listeners, it wasn't in the protective zone, he's actually run through the mark. You don't even do that at training, you get in trouble by the coach, Luke.
You can kick this.
Something to do with the man bun.
Steve Allen for Homestar. It's been a while since Fraser McInnes has kicked the goal for the Eagles.
Yeah, back in 2015, never kicked more than 2 in a game.
12 matches, 6 goals to his name through his career, and he's not going to add to that goal tally with that kick from 50. It sprays very wide. In fact, only just sneaks in for a behind. 8-2-50. Essendon 1-2-8. The West Coast Eagles, second quarter for AGL Gas, played almost 14 minutes.
Well, they've been in there a couple of times in the last few minutes. Tackles inside 50's 5-all. It's 22-10 though, so they need more supply, the Eagles. They've been going at about an average of 60, so they've got a fair bit of work to do. Another one inside 50, take by Rioli, hand pass out, trying to find his teammate there, McInnes again. He gets well tackled, driven into the turf well, and the ball will be thrown up by the umpire. 40 out from the Eagles' goal.
Started to lift their intensity, really important. Essendon now realise momentum's shifted a little bit in the Eagles' favour, and just got to play basic football.
Lycett down for Hooker. Mark Natanui. No, not 15, says the umpire. It was touched.
Touched, Carl.
Either or, and it is called to play on, and good tackles on Nick Nat, holds him up. Umpire comes in, throws it up again. AGL Gas scoreboard with the Bombers leading by 42 points. Hooker goes boundary side and finds Devon Smith with a couple of goals by his name. He kicks the ball downfield, and Shannon Hearn used the body well. Took a nice mark. Was it a diamond precast?
Would have been a free kick as well, I think.
Okay. diamondprecast.com.au. Build your next project in precast as Hearn goes to the pocket, and again McInnes. A lot closer this time, and he needs to kick a goal.
Yeah, taking a couple of strong marks tonight, Jacko. He's a couple down the line, but the first one inside 50, they haven't taken many marks in their forward 50, so that's probably the only one. So, strong contested grab there, and he needs to do that a few more times tonight.
Yeah, that's his third contested mark, and he pushed up D really well on that occasion. So, he needs the goal, like you said, for his own confidence, but at least he's coming to the front of the contest and leading up to the kicker.
So that first mark inside 50 does not produce anything more than a point, and only just. So McInnes' last 2 shots have both failed, 1-3-9 to 8-2-50. When you're fighting for your life to keep getting a game, you've got to do better than those last 2 efforts.
So back pocket, the Bombers go long out to half-back. Duggan was there, Green with him, and it will be a free kick. Just held on to in that marking contest.
Just over the shoulder, but that's what you've got to do, get in the front position.
Handball away to Jetta. Jetta sends it inside 50 with a low ball. McInnes up again, ball off hands. Tackling pressure came from Ryan. Cripps trying to get a kick away, that was smothered. Well done by Smith. Down low, able to knock it down. Pack forms, ball up about 20 metres out for the Eagles' goal.
Well, some good signs the last 5 minutes. West Coast just able to lock it in their forward 50. A couple of re-entries. They need to capitalise and score.
Natanui hit out straight down to the other ruckman in. Lycett snapped to goal. Out to the right-hand side, another behind.
Lewis Jetta's an interesting one. Just had his third possession just a minute ago. Had no real impact, but he's on Fantasia, who's amongst the possessions and leading to the contest. So he's getting to the ball. He needs to lift his work rate.
Devon Smith limping a little for SKG Radiology. He was battling a calf injury.
Yeah, a few spectators asking for Frank Spencer to enter the box today, so we'll see what happens here later on, as I haven't seen him around the ground yet, but we'll find out a little bit later on. Neil Danaher, MND, Freeze, fightmnd.org.au today if you would like to raise or help raise some funds for that terrible illness. Now, there's going to be a ball thrown up here. It's about 30 out from the Eagles' goal. It's 8-1 here on 6PR Footy. And he's on the AGL gas scoreboard as Yo is driven into the turf. He had it only very quickly, but again, the Bombers hot onto it, laying good hard tackles and just keeping the pressure on. 32-24 on the tackle count in favour of the Bombers. Ball knocked over the back, Shuey. Kick off the side of the boot. And that is only to his cousin in the crowd, because that's where it's gone, out on the full.
Good pressure, and just good to see West Coast getting dangerous that time, but Essendon pounced on to really organise its stoppages.
So Devon Smith still hopping around out there. Maybe some scans for SKG radiology. If injuries occur, the choice is clear from the back pocket, who's going to be Hooker, who kicks the ball back into play. Over the back, Jetta protects his teammate Shepherd, who's bundled over, taken high, and Green has again given away another free kick. So Brad Shepherd on the right half forward flank, about 80 out, kicks it inside 50, needs a mark. Up they go. Again, McInnes can't take it. Goddard gets the crumb, hoiks it back out there, straight back to Shepherd, perhaps. See what happens this time.
All right, Brad Shepherd, he's going to go high again, looking towards Natanui, who's off hands, knocked down. He's trying to go again, knocking it to his advantage. Myers ends up with it for the Bombers. Tumbling kick out of defence. It's over the back to Lysett, who had the support of Schofield, but missed with a handball. Fantasia knocked it on. Now this is where the Bombers can use their speed. Fantasia wins a footy. Handball to McDonald, Tippenwoody. Open forward, 50 for Essendon, but it just didn't sit for Tippenwoody. And now he lays a strong tackle. If they'd been able to collect cleanly, they would have been away and inside 50. Instead, we'll get a ball up left half forward for Essendon. Bombers lead it by 40 points. It was well done by Schofield to hold things up. Close to the boundary line and over goes Fantasia. We get a boundary throw in.
Cale Hooker, the leading ball winner in this quarter with 8. Probably not too many times you could have said that in his career.
Of course, 6PR3AW footy will keep you updated with any events coming through from Russia. The Socceroos in action tonight. Kick-off about an hour away as we see a free kick paid. And which way is it going?
Bombers fans will be loving this tonight.
Absolutely. It's been impressive. So there was no advantage paid there, and now there's nobody on the mark. Loose checking from West Coast, and Fantasia from 50 goes long, almost a huge mark over the back. Stringer kicked it over his head, but it went into the post. 2 brilliant efforts from Jake Stringer. Terrible, lax marking from the Eagles with the man on the mark, but are behind all the result in the end for Essendon.
Well, they're just not switched on, are they, the Eagles? One rush behind.
Yeah, Lewis Jetta in particular, you want to look at that on the replays. The senior player needs to stand up. 3 possessions. He looks disinterested out there.
That's only the second point off a Bomber boot. It was nearly like a cork in the ocean. The famous Dennis Cometti back in the Eagles 92 grand final. Peter Wilson. Here's Ryan. He goes to Lacroix. Lacroix runs to 52. Open goal square. And he misses. Another miss.
Looked heavy leg then, Luke. Couldn't make the distance, so not trying to make the 6-day break, but he looked very lethargic there. No zip from Mark Lacroix.
He only wanted to bounce it through, and he had the advantage. He just missed it. Out on the full, on the kick back in. So the Eagles are going to get a gimme opportunity here, and it looks like McInnes, well, on his last couple of shots, he's no chance. Did I just say that? Yeah, I did.
Yeah, did. He's probably a bit far out. I think he might put it to the top of the square, Cal. Yes, that's what he's going to do.
Okay, so he goes to the top of the square. Told you there's no chance. As he goes in, Lacroix again, turning, hand passing. Yo with a snap. What's he done, Yo? Has he got it on target? Nah. Minor score. 6PR3AW footy, 1-6 West Coast. Starting to pepper the goals, though. 1-6-12, 8-3-51. 7 scoring shots to 10 all of a sudden.
Well, they are peppering the goals, but they're going to have to make one count, because if Essendon kick the next goal, that's really going to suck the wind out of their sails. They had a good few minutes, West Coast. They've had a few entries into their front half, but for no result.
2-1 in this quarter in favour of the Bombers after they kicked 6 unanswered in the first term. Essendon, Sard across the defensive 50, finds Deed back pocket.
Just 2 marks in the last 5 minutes from West Coast. 17 to Essendon.
So a long ball. Feels like the Eagles have been controlling it for the last little while. Just haven't been making it pay on the scoreboard. Now some good tackling pressure at half forward for West Coast. Redmond's got it. His kick smothered by Redden. Ricochets away. Waterman bumped off it. Redden went back in to win it. Got it to Yo. Now to Jetta, who fumbled, dropped the footy. He was maybe thinking goals and he just dropped it down low, but they might get a free kick here. No, it's going Essendon's way. Redmond will take it. There's Jetta frustrated with himself with a shake of the head. He might have had a chance to get a shot on goal. And now the switch comes from the Bombers out to McKernan. Defensive 50. Through the middle of the ground, Langford has been busy. And that kick poor off the side of the boot. Makes it tough for McKenna. Really poor in the end. And it goes out of bounds. It'll be a boundary throw in between wing and half forward for West Coast. 6PR 3AW football. 8-3-51 the Bombers. 1-6-12 West Coast. 22 and a half minutes gone second quarter for AGL Gas.
Yes, and our time clock only shows 5:22 to go in the half. As Hutchings comes away, he goes to the forward line. He was looking for Ryan, but he was beaten to it by Redmond. Good young player. He's nice and tidy, used the ball well as he did just then with a foot pass. He found Merritt, goes across to Goddard, and he swings the ball across half back to Hooker. So some experience there in Merritt, Goddard and Hooker combining. Been around at this club for a while now. Some of the mainstays. Best 22. They've got a few out too, the Bombers. It's a good effort so far. Zaharakis and, into the back there, Cripps. His opponent wasn't infringed. Guelphy goes in, he can't win it. Cripps and Myers go back in, and eventually the football is going to be held up on the half-forward flank for the Eagles on their right side.
Even when challenged in this quarter in the last 5 minutes, Essendon really set up well off their half-back line, kept their shape and spread and switched the ball quite easily at times.
So the ball now in the hands of Cripps on the restart from the wing position. He kicks the ball inside 50. McInnes almost a mark. He's the only one to take a mark inside 50 for the Eagles, and then the Bombers. Sard, McGrath. He links up with D. Hand pass to Merritt. They just got numbers out wide here. Nice little pass too, and he finds his teammate Devon Smith, who has been tremendous so far in this game. Couple of goals, and he's coming up for possession number 12, and he'll level up with Langford, and 13 to Merritt and Heppel.
So Smith long up the wing. Ball fisted off hands and retrieved by Merritt for Essendon. Crashing in strongly was Redden. There's good intent on the football that time, but it'll be locked in under the pack. No, just spills out at the last second. A high ball back through the centre square, and Hutchings waits underneath to take the mark. The West Coast with possession back. They look backwards and sideways initially. Gaff. Share the 1-2 with Schofield. Up to the wing now, West Coast. Gaff with a long kick to half forward. McInnes, rare sling. Hooker, once, twice, 3 times. He's taken a good mark for Diamond precast.
When Hutchings marked the ball on the back line, he needed to come out to the open side. He's gone back into traffic, and Essendon have been able to win the footy back again.
Short ball from Hooker after that good mark to Langford. Half-back Bombers. Been so impressive in this first half. High ball up the wing. Brown nudged underneath it by Hurd. Free kick going Essendon's way. Look pretty clear cut.
Oh, definitely.
8-3-51. Plays 1-6-12. Essendon dominating this first half.
West Coast leading the free kick count 15-9.
Long bomb by Sard inside 50. McGovern went back with a flight with courage. Ball off hands. Marston takes it. Back pocket. Unsure where to go. Twisting and turning. Fed it back by hand. And Cole steps over the line. Well, it's going to be a boundary throw-in, but to me that shows as much intent to get it over the line as some of those kicks that are under pressure that go out of the pack. Had time to dispose of it.
He did, yep, and he certainly was trying to get himself over the line and disguise it, but it wasn't very well disguised.
Ball thrown in. Tap down. Redden gathers. Gaff's kick didn't go far at all. Bagley dispossessed in a tackle. McGrath tucked up in the right forward pocket. Smith had it a while. He was tackled and holding the ball. Shuey got hold of him.
It's just a really good, strong, crunching tackle from Luke Shuey. And again, the senior players have got to really set the tone with that, because we haven't seen much of it from West Coast this evening.
Get the tackle count from Steve Allen in just a second. There's Redden. He's got it just on the defensive 50. Long one up the wing. Liam Ryan to jump from 2 or 3 deep. Knocked it down, but only as far as McKenna, who runs his full measure and then sends it inside 50. Blistering kick, but fumbled over the line.
Essendon leading the tackle count 40-30. Yo leading West Coast with 6 tackles. McKenna and Smith with 4 each for the Bombers.
Well, West Coast got away with it then. Jakey Stringer in all kinds of space on it. Jeremy McGovern, the ball just bounced off his chest.
In from the boundary throw-in, knocked down. Devon Smith, a quick kick up to the top of the square. It's knocked away from Myers. And deep into attack. We'll get a boundary throw-in. Get to Fizz Ferguson in a second as well.
He's just dangerous, tipping Woody, and he got a clearance again just a minute ago for that kick to go in. Just watch him on this boundary throw and how he positions himself.
Thrown in forward pocket, the Bombers. Neither ruckman really got at it. Locked in again. Frizz Ferguson for Coatsire.
Zach Merritt has come off the ground, had a bit of a chat to the doctors, and he's currently getting his right leg worked on.
Thanks, Frizz. So they have had a few just little injury niggles, the Bombers, so far through the first half. Ball off hands. Inside 50, Essendon. McGrath after it. Tackled by Yo. Hacked out of there by Schofield for West Coast. Only as far as Langford, who's got it on the 50. He spins back goalward. Looks up. Great kick. Great vision. And Bill Chambers marks it. 35 metres out from goal. Not too much angle to speak for whatsoever. And the way he finished in the first quarter, you'd back him in to go back and slot it.
Just looking at the camera electronic replay, Langford, well done. He didn't just fire out the handball as they do immediately. He showed some initiative, turned back into a bit of traffic, used his football now, went to the fat side, and Bell Chambers there by himself. So Langford, really good play, good smart play.
Well, West Coast had started to control things. They'd been peppering away at the goals, but were inaccurate. This had hurt, but Bell Chambers can't make them pay.
Well, that would have hurt. And Jacko, you pointed to it. That's been the difference between the two sides, the quality of the entry. I mean, West Coast have been able to even it up a bit somewhat, 22 inside 50s to Essendon's 26, but the quality of entry that Essendon are able to give, looking off the line and finding those targets.
Hearn plays on out of fullback and a driving kick out towards Natanui at halfback off hands. McGrath quickly on the boot. Bagley couldn't trap it. Jetta kept his feet. Got it defensive 50. Across to Gaff for West Coast. Slipped a handball through to Colt. He goes short. And now the mark to Redden. The crowd urging him to run with it. So he goes his distance and sends it long to half forward. But it's a terrible kick that only advantaged Hurley.
They're in disarray with their ball movement, and it's largely because of Essendon's ability to spread, play man-on-man footy and force them down the line.
Hurley intercepting. Kick up the wing. Natanui had the arms around Bell Chambers. Ball off hands. Redden got it to Hutchings. Chips a ball to half forward. It's very wide of Waterman and out of play.
Alarm bells. West Coast's lowest scoring first half at home ever was 12 points. And that was back in 2012. So equal that at the moment.
That's not just at Optus Stadium, obviously. That's all time at home. Can they try and avoid that? There's still time in this second quarter. They've got it right half forward. Elliot Yeo taken high. And we'll get the free kick. That will do us. Half time at Optus Stadium. Well, Yeo's about 90 metres from goal and wants to have a shot. So he's thinking about loading up a torp. And he goes to barrel. And he sends it into the forward pocket. Still comes up about 20 metres short of the goal. But what a remarkable half of football by the Essendon Football Club. They have come across and stunned the home side. West Coast kept to their equal lowest halftime score ever of just 1-6-12. That is at home, of course. The Bombers 8-4-52 at the half and well in control. Jake Stringer's kicked 3, Devon Smith 2 for the Bombers. Nick Natanui, the only goal scorer for the West Coast Eagles, who was able to kick at 11 minutes into that second term. We will come back and we will analyse everything that's gone on in this first half. It is for Metal West Recycling and Yes Loans. You're listening to 6PR 3AW Football.
The 2018 Toyota AFL Premiership season. Thanks to Metal West Recycling, the scrap metal specialists, and Yes Loans. They say yes more often. 6PR is football.
In comes Tipper. Tipper! That's a great effort. Ho-ho! There's your goal of the day, gents. They were telling me when I was going down there that I should maybe get out there and put my jumper on. I'm going, gee, have you seen me run? Can't even walk.
So Nick Natanui, left forward pocket, 45-degree angle. He has kicked a goal. And finally, the West Coast fans can find some voice.
How there?
11 and a half minutes into the second quarter is how long it took for the Eagles to find their first goal. Well, that was the only goal for the quarter for the West Coast Eagles as well. Adam Papalier, Glenn Jakovich and Luke McFarlane with you at half-time. And it is Essendon in complete control, 8-4-52 to the West Coast Eagles, 1-6-12. It is 6PR 3AW Football for Metal West Recycling, the scrap metal specialists, and Yes Loans. They say yes more often. 9472 3000 is their phone number. Luke McFarlane, it was a domination, wasn't it, from the Essendon Footy Club, particularly in the first quarter, but right through the first half.
Yeah, no, they came to play, and that was so evident from the start. I mean, their work around the clearances, they were belting West Coast best in contested footy and clearances, those key indicators that demonstrate that you're up and about. But then just the quality of their entries as well. They had a number of inside 50s. They were forcing the West Coast backs to defend. They were getting all kinds of space. Ended up they're up to 9 marks inside 50 now to West Coast 1. So they've been doing as they please when they've gone forward. They've kicked straight too. That's been another major feature. And West Coast, they've struggled in all areas. They managed to arrest some momentum in the second quarter, but unable to capitalise on a number of entries they got during that period. But Essendon well in control.
Jacko, you said, I think, during the first half that West Coast certainly didn't come to play. We're playing a bruise-free brand of footy.
Yeah, and just seems like that. They're second to the contest. They're getting dictated at the stoppages. Tip and Woody walked through a couple of tackles, which resulted in a goal in this second quarter. But their run off the half-back line, I'll just go back to round 2. Essendon really poor here. First time interstate. And I think they learned a lot from that. Their setup off the half-back line is very mirrored what West Coast and Freo do here quite regularly from a week-to-week basis. And they've put a lot of work in, so well organised, but their intent. This is all about attitude, and their attitude is there to come to play. They've won the tackle count. Again, they're winning that tackle count. And the uncontested ball winning power around the ground, that, to me, Adam, is work rate. West Coast got a lot to think about at half-time. It's not beyond them, but they need a goal kicker, and they've got a forward line very stagnant at the minute.
Well, let's see what the numbers say for the game so far as we check out the stats for home start. They are the first home buyer specialist. Here's Steve Allen.
I'll just mention again, Adam, that 12 points is the equal lowest scoring first half at home ever for West Coast. It's also their lowest scoring first half since 2012. Now, despite winning the hitouts by 8, they're losing the clearances by 7. Essendon have had 5 more forward entries for 5 more scoring shots. They've also had 62 more disposals in the first half. They're controlling the footy with 28 more marks, and they've had 43 more uncontested possessions. Their major ball winners, Zach Merritt's had it 17 times. Langford's had it 15 with 5 clearances. Devon Smith with 13 plus his 2 goals and a further 2 score involvements, while Dyson Heppel has had it 13 times, along with Sarden Hooker. McGrath was quiet in the second term, but he's had it 11 times. Goddard, Hurley, D and Redmond with 10 each. For West Coast, it's Gaff and Redden with 16 disposals each. Shepherd and Yo with 11. Hearn and Duggan with 9, Marston, LaCroix and Hutchings with 7. And a bit further down the page, a few of the quiet ones, Nelson, Rioli, Cole and Ryan with 2 each. Jake Waterman with just 1 disposal for the first half.
Thank you very much, Steve. Back to Jacko and Luke in just a second. Let's go downstairs for Coates Hire to Frizz Ferguson. Coates Hire, the equipment and machinery hire, 13 15 52. Frizz, for SKG Radiology, there's a few little injury niggles for the Bombers.
Yeah, no serious injuries, but there are a few niggles. As I mentioned before, Josh Green went down into the rooms. It looked like he had a left ankle worked on when he came back upstairs. Zach Merritt also had some work done on his right leg. And as you mentioned before, Devon Smith was hobbling around on the ground, but he was persistent and stayed on the ground during that time. Just a little bit of a limp for him. So no real injuries for either side. It is 13.3 degrees down here on ground level and no rain in sight, so a lovely night here.
Yeah, it is certainly a lovely night, but Jacko, it hasn't been a good night so far for the West Coast Eagles, and thanks for that, Frizz, down there for Coates Hire. Their forward line, though, that was the big talk coming into tonight. No Jack Darling or Josh Kennedy. Where were their goals going to come from? Well, the only one's been from Nick Natanui, their ruckman so far.
Yeah, and that's we spoke about that. LaCroix looked lethargic. He's inside 50 a couple of times, just no penetration with his kick, and they're second to the ball. The setup, obviously John Worsfold and the defensive coach of Essendon have really capitalised on with Sard and Merritt. Merritt is just getting his own ball off the half-back line, and it's dragging West Coast out of their optimal position when there is a turnover, and Essendon just building that wall. They very much look like the Eagles every time the Eagles have played here this year, bar the Sydney game, and even in that game they played really well as well. But This is a real test from their mental state right now. Can they dig themselves? This is a game that you like to play in and to come back after half-time and show something. This is now, yes, not their structures and their setups, but they need to really show some energy in the next 60 minutes.
Well, it's a 40-point lead to the Bombers at half-time. Essendon fans listening via 3AW over there in Melbourne will be very, very happy with the scoreline at half-time. We'll come back, get a sports wrap with Jimmy Williams and bring you all the action from the second half here at Optus Stadium. It is Essendon 8-4-52 leading the West Coast Eagles 1-6-12. 6PR 3AW is footy.